Hello, everyone. I just wanted to say thank you to all of the students who have been attending workshops, writing workshops after school, through the after school program run by Michael Baker. We actually had an author's grant by the California Library that allowed for that. So I want to thank the California Library for the funds to provide those workshops. And there's a ton of people to thank that we'll do at the very end of this, but I'm going to not talk anymore and just send it over to Marcus Omari, our MC, who's got all the energy in the world. So thank you, Marcus.
Yes, it takes all. Thank you. First of all, thank you, Wendy. Thank you, Jason. It takes all the energy in the world to be a part of this because there's so much amazing energy coming out. It's all reciprocal. And we are sitting on the precipice of energy, of creativity, of excellence. We are about to hear from the winners of LitCon 2021. I believe this made the third or the fourth season we've done LitCon. Third. And the way this competition runs is we send out information. Students are able to send in their prose, their poetry, and even multimedia pieces that they create on their own. There's a competition within the school. They're chosen. They move on to a district-wide showcase. And from that showcase, winners emerge. We celebrate everyone, but the winners that emerge are being showcased here today. So for everyone that's here today in this room, if you are a competitor, if you're administration, if you are myself, let's all sit back and give one another a round of applause for being here. Yes, 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 yes. So now that we know what LitCon is, what we're here for, and who we're going to hear from, let's not take up any more time listening to me, Marcus Omari. I say we jump right into this special creativity. I'll let you know who's speaking, what they're saying, and we'll keep it rolling like that. So if you're ready for an amazing show, everybody say, yeah. Exactly. In a virtual room, in a virtual room, that's exactly what yeah sounds like. Perfect. Hey, I'd like to bring to our Zoom stage none other than our third place winner for poetry high school from Godinez Fundamental. Everyone in the room, round of applause for Daniel Sevilla.
For the first time in a long time, I felt the tears roll down my cheek, a steady stream of water, the type that would capture a canvas. And in the place of a loved one's embrace, a blanket was all that guarded against the night. As the warmth of my protector grew damp with the stream, memories swirled around my head, memories flowing back to thoughts of a child I once knew. To the child who learned to write what he could not speak, to the child who only speaks out against himself, to the child who grew spiteful as the world challenged him, to the child who was too afraid to challenge the world, to the child who hid behind an expression as if it were a shield, to the child who was too weak to keep their shield raised, to the child who learned to hate what he did not understand, to the child who never really understood why he hated, to the child who easily loved the undeserving, to the child who hated the love he felt undeserved, to the child who did everything he loved out of hate, to the child who hated doing everything he loved, to the child who wanted nothing but to know love, to the child who knows nothing of what loving means, to the child who succeeded through being smart, to the child who was too smart to ever truly succeed, to the child who loved to discover how things were, to the child who doesn't know what they really are, and to the child, now clutching a damp blanket, who cries themselves a river, knowing that, despite that, there's a smile upon his face. To the man who speaks out for others and writes his way forward, to the man who challenges the world as much as the world does him, to the man who holds his shield for others so that they may one day share their face, to the man who tries to love all and understands why it is he loves, to the man who loves what he does and does things for the sake of his love, to the man who shares his love with another and knows that love simply is, to the man who leads now with his heart as much as he does with his brain, and to the thing who knows not what they really are, but knows that that is half of the battle, and to the man embracing their warm blanket, who drifts off to sleep, knowing that, despite it all, tomorrow always shines.
Hey, I see the snaps and claps in the room. Daniel, thank you so much. Hey, to the child and to the adult out there, we see you as we see Daniel. Thank you so much for kicking off this amazing showcase with your amazing poetry. Rolling right next into our next poetic performer, who took second place poetry in high school from Godinez Fundamental, representing again, give it up for Yamalith Silva.
Okay. Multiple rays from a golden star land delicately on a place that's far. Hundreds of flowers emit a fresh scent, nothing to have fear for or lament. A location where there is no death, somewhere to escape, hide, and catch my breath. And now the colors are vivid and bright, for in this place I will be all right. No injustice, no pain, no hunger. Somewhere I can go release my anger. The fallen crispy honey-colored leaves move along with the cool, gentle breeze. Birds of all sizes and shapes chirping with the voice of a river stream flowing. No one here is greater, better, or worse. Equality in this universe. I know every side of this place. However, we have never met face to face. All is well here, and my folks are merry. Utopia, my sanctuary.
Hey, amazing job. Hearing about that location of peace and that space of reverence and sanctuary. Thank you so much for sharing. Jason, correct me if I'm right. I believe the theme or the topic this year for LitCon contributors was hope, correct?
It was hope, yes.
All right, I just want to get that out there so everyone understands that what they're hearing poetically, prose-wise, and multimedia is going to speak from different perspectives and ideas of what hope is, where hope begins, where hope ends, or how we transition into a place of what these creators consider hope. Thank you for those who have shared, and having that as the lead in, we're going to go into our first media piece from taking third place in high school media from Godinez Fundamental. We're going to see a piece from Paula and Diego, and then we'll hear a little bit more from them afterwards. Give it up for COVID informational video.
With an ongoing rise in COVID cases, vaccination sites are now open in OC for residents 65 and older. Santa Ana currently has the most COVID cases in Orange County, as 1 out of 15 people is testing positive.
By answering a few questions to determine eligibility, Orange County residents over the age of 65 are able to register for the vaccine through the Othina website or app.
Vaccine supplies are limited and will be distributed in phases. As we are currently in Phase 1A, only those at high risk and of the age of 65 or older can currently receive the vaccine. Vaccination sites include Disneyland, Sophia University, and some senior centers.
Although COVID cases are rising, there is hope due to this vaccine. Remember to stay safe and follow CDC guidelines. For GNN, this is Paula Ramos,
Karen Rivas,
and Diego Sarmiento.
I'm unmuting the wrong person. Absolutely amazing. Hey, the creativity from the prose, the poetry, and the multimedia is absolutely amazing. Let's hear now from two of the contributors and creators of that piece, Paola and Diego. You're here?
Yes, so we decided to make this because, considering Santa Ana has the highest number of COVID cases in Orange County, my group and I thought it was important to share information we know about the distribution of the COVID vaccine.
Perfect.
We also really wanted to spread information and use the resources we have to create the video in order to help us stay in touch with our community. And in these times, I feel like a sense of unity within our community is an aspect that really helps us feel hopeful.
Yeah, listen, it does. And because this is top of mind for so many people, I'm glad that you didn't just leave it at that. Information in regards to COVID speaks so much louder and is so much impactful when it comes from people within our community. So thank you so much for creating that. All right. So now you guys have had a taste of it, right? We've had some poetry, we've had some media, and now we're going to slide into our prose writers, our storytellers, representing first from high school, our third place prose winner from Circulos. Give it up for Valerie Cortez.
Eyes. Most of my family's eye color is dark brown like coffee grounds or dark chocolate. Both of my parents have dark brown eyes, so that gives me the color of my eyes. I didn't really pay much attention to how my eyes looked, but I I imagine having blue ocean eyes, but I don't. Brown, normal. Though recently I found out I have dysfunctional eye glands. My heart sank like a roller coaster drop. I felt like someone stole a part of my car so it wouldn't operate anymore. It's engraved with my thoughts and routines. Now I have to be careful with what I touch, remind myself every moment of the day not to get my hand near the unfinished car, which is my eyes. Eye drops fall and splash inside my eye, while it feels like a sting but a refreshment. My eyes don't look as red anymore. Allergies come back, so I run to my eye drops once again. At night, I cover my eyes with a heating mask. It's hot, but I know it will do well. One day I forget to do all of those things, I notice a red bump. It's hard and it looks like a lump. It took months, which felt like years, years where I felt like I was watching the same movie over and over again. I was tired of that red hard bump. Surgery. Early in the morning, the sky was still dark blue and outside it was cold. I remember the smell of the bread from the bakery next door. A few minutes later, we arrived. Inside, it was cold as I lay down on the white sheets. It was time. I saw nothing but pitch black as if being in the bottom of a well that was covered from the top. I finished. Time flew by so fast, I didn't even notice. I was asleep not knowing what my eyes would look like anymore. My eyelids were huge and puffy. They looked like white puffy clouds or huge marshmallows. It took time to heal. Finally, they were gone, though that was not the end. Why couldn't this process be easy like riding my bike? At this point, I learned that this was permanent. I actually have to live with it for the rest of my life. The same steps had to be taken, appointments and appointments were made, waiting in a cold room for hours just to see how my eyes were doing. Eye drops, eye cream, heating mask, flipping eyelid, allergies, all on repeat. I should have appreciated them more before. Learn to appreciate what you have before time makes you appreciate what you had. ZK Albanor.
Thank you so much, Valerie. That wonderful prose that makes us think more on not only our own personal stories, but the idea of appreciation, which is a key word and an ingredient to hope. So thank you for sharing that and for setting up our next media piece, which also comes from Circulos. They took second place in media. This piece comes from Jade and Anna. I believe this is called Food Deserts.
To many, fast or processed food is a pleasure. A quick, inexpensive meal that feels as guilty as it is delicious. But for others, fast food isn't just a craving. It's their only access to food at all. Over the past decade, there has been a decrease in grocery stores in the US and areas aptly called food deserts. Food deserts are geographic areas where residents' access to affordable, healthy food options is practically non-existent, because the next grocery store is more than 10 miles away. Approximately 2.3 million people live in low-income rural areas that are more than 10 miles away from a supermarket. With limited options, many people living in food deserts get meals from fast food restaurants. As a nation, we eat out between 4 and 5 times a week on average, and this number equates to 18.2 meals in an average month eaten outside of home, especially for people living in low-income communities that rely on fast food.
But we have a hunger problem in this country, and we had a hunger problem, quite frankly, even before the pandemic. Now over 50 million of our fellow citizens don't know where their next meal is going to come from, and I think all of us should be ashamed by that fact. We could do so much better, and we need to make this high on the list of priorities. I mean, food is a basic, fundamental human right.
We're in this position, and there are reasons for it. And reasons, if you think about it, it's not complicated. It's nobody's fault. Yeah. But diets have changed. Habits have changed. People's lives are busier. You know, parents are working. People don't cook as much. You know, they're using more processed foods in bags, and foods that are quick and things you can microwave. And people are going out more, and it's more fast food, so they don't know what's in the food. And there are these kids' meals that are so attractive, but you know, the calories just add up, and, you know, everything is convenient, but nobody is thinking about, well, what does that convenience cost in terms of calories and sugar intake and on and on and on. And then in rural and urban poor communities, I could go on and on and on. It's no one's fault, but it's true, it's real.
Access to food also has to do with limited access to transportation. Low-income communities are forced to shop among the few aisles of prepackaged foods and processed snacks and sugary beverages at whatever storefronts are within walking distance. It may seem affordable at first, but it's no way to feed growing children who need access to nutritious foods daily. And considering healthy food is crucial in development, brain growth, and overall health, it is important that these foods are accessible to these communities. Communities need to call for action, though.
And with health and the way we eat also affecting our minorities first. You see a lot more high-calorie food in these areas where minorities tend to live the most. When you go into the more affluent or less diverse populations in anywhere really in the country, you'll see a lot less fast food options. One of the main issues is advocacy from the people in these areas. I think the next biggest issue would probably be just being overall more health aware. You gotta include cultural factors. Our cultural factors are very important, right? If we take Hispanics per se, that tend to always be at the top of these numbers in terms of obesity and diabetes and all these other health issues. We love our food. We love to eat. We love the high caloric item. But even then, I would say we don't need to necessarily step away from what makes our culture so rich. Sometimes it's just about being mindful, and it comes right back around to that whole idea of being health literate.
I went to a food market in my neighborhood, only to find 2 expensive food stands in the midst of fast food stands. I was surrounded by shops and fast food restaurants with the expectation to find more healthy fruit and vegetable stands. I just found 2 fruit stands and the rest were mostly junk food. So that tells us something.
In response to food deserts, we call on Congress and the President to make restorative efforts. We proposed the Food Deserts Act of 2017, which designates federal grants to states to support the establishment and ownership of grocery stores in underserved communities. This bill will ensure federal loans to grocery stores providing affordable, fresh, and healthy foods to communities that have an established lack of it or with only one staple place in said community.
We should not have to depend on volunteer community outreach on its own, but rather encourage our legislators to take immediate direct action to manifest an equitable, safe future.
Woohoo! Hey, round of applause for that, man. That was impactful. Hold on, let's get that right there. And necessary. Let's hear from the creators of that particular piece. Let's hear from Jade and Anna for Food Deserts. There's so much that was in that video. Tell us why. It's weird to ask you to tell us why, but tell us why you started with this and why you felt this was important.
We started with this because Anna and I really wanted to dive deep into food desert communities and like the factors of it and how people are affected and what can happen and how we can help.
We also created this documentary in order to inspire other communities to bring hope into their community as well.
Wonderful. Listen, and what I learned from that, I didn't know we already had a Food Act of 2017. So that thing was full of so much information. Thank you for creating that. Thank you for sharing that. Going right back into some poetry. You guys ready for this? This is our first place poetry winner from high school. So you know it's something important and you know it's something powerful from Santa Ana Valley. A round of applause for Anayeli Cruz Sanchez.
Before I start, I'd like to give a trigger warning because my poem does contain a sensitive topic. So if you are uncomfortable, you may tune out for about 3 minutes. Thank you. My name is Anayeli, and this is me. Anayeli entered the world at 9:45 a.m. on October 7, 2003. Greeted by smiling faces expanding the family tree. She was destined for a life of bliss, named after a Mexican actress. Anayeli lived an adventurous childhood. Invisible wounds, not seen by the naked eye. Anayeli hit with constant flashbacks, reminded of her early trauma, robbed of her innocence, turned her back on the world when the world turned its back on her. Anayeli fools the world, but when it comes to her, she cannot. Invisible scars deepen, not seen by the naked eye. Anayeli is baptized to cleanse her soul from sin, reminiscing it was for a purpose. Now a yang, a voice to others in denial. Anayeli's mother always says, "You are a fighter," and that she is. Invisible scars soothing, giving a voice to the voiceless. Anayeli fueled with indigenous blood, coursing through her veins. Oaxaca, dear to my parents, their beautiful language that slips out of their tongue. U Sabi, people of the rain. Silence is shush, now a voice echoes. Taught the life of an immigrant by 4 o'clock in the morning. Dirty boots, ripped sweater, and a sweaty face as the fresh strawberries were picked. Her parents always guiding her into a life that were robbed by the illegal status, saying, "Do better than we did," because we couldn't implant it into her brain. Life is unpredictable, just like droplets. 2 swords cross, she stands. Thank you.
Whew. Anayeli, thank you. Your poem and your piece represent so much in terms of what everyone who took part in LitCon did. They are personal, they are powerful, they leave everyone in the audience who is listening to these powerful voices in awe and thankful that you've chosen to share that. So one more round of applause for Anayeli and everyone else who shared thus far. Thank you so much. That sets us up in our first place category, moving into our first place media for intermediate, coming from Henniger Elementary, Lauren Santiago's piece, You. You give it up for you.
Where is everyone? How could they do this to me?
Just one click and I finally know what to do. Hey, just think about it. With one click, will you change? Just know you're not alone. You're not perfect, but you're you.
Never be afraid or ashamed to show your true colors. Because no matter what you have as a condition or just who you want to be, just know that someone will always be there for you, even if you don't hear it, see it, or feel it. Someone will always love you for who you are. So you don't have to change who you are just so people can like you for something you're not. And if someone you're close to doesn't like you for who you want to be, don't hate them. You should later thank them, because without their hate, you would never succeed into what you want to be. You just have to be yourself, hope for the best and not the worst. And just know that you're not perfect, but you're you.
Hey, you are not perfect, but you are you. Let's hear from the creator of that powerful, appreciative piece. I believe Lauren is here today. Lauren, tell us a little bit about the message of hope that you call you.
I just wanted to send a message to others saying that they're themselves.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Is there anything else that you wanted to share about that particular video?
Yeah, I just wanted to let everyone know that they will always be themselves no matter what others say.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Round of applause for Lauren, and that message that sometimes get overlooked, but every time we hear it in the day, I know that everyone appreciates it. It's like a hug that you get when someone says, hey, we appreciate you for being you. So thank you for driving that message home for us. Hey, everyone that's in the room and for everyone in our audience, we are rounding off. And now we're leading into our first place pros intermediate. Our first place pros intermediate came from Henniger Elementary. Round of applause for Cynthia Silva.
Hi, my name is Cynthia, and I'm going to be presenting my piece, and its name is Reuniting Miguelito. Hey, kid, come here, I won't hurt you, screamed Officer Lopez. Miguelito turns around and tries to run away, but either way gets caught. No, grieved Miguelito. Perdón, hijo, pero te tengo que llevar a un lugar seguro, apologized Officer Lopez. Officer Lopez starts to walk to his car, holding Miguelito's hand. He opened the car door and told him to sit in the front passenger seat. Then he sat in the driver's seat. The car started with a loud vroom vroom. Officer Lopez turned on the car and drove off on the road. During the dusty, bumpy drive, Miguelito confesses to Officer Lopez his full name, age, and that he was traveling with his mama to California. He shared that the previous night he lost his mom in the middle of the night while crossing the Rio Grande. Time went by and finally they were at their destination. They both got out of the car and walked to the Immigration Detention Center office. Miguelito moped quietly behind Officer Lopez. Later, Miguelito met a new person. Hi, Mrs. Janice, grinned Officer Lopez. Well, hello there. Who do we have here today? Bleated Mrs. Janice. I think he's an immigrant from Mexico. His name is Miguelito. I'm going to go ahead and do some research on him. I really want to help, fettered Officer Lopez. Officer Lopez takes Miguelito to the back where all the immigrant children are in detention cages. Then he goes on his computer and starts to research. Later, after researching for about a week, the office got a notification notifying them that Miguelito's mom had been found. Miguelito's mom later pulls up that day. ¿En dónde está mi hijo? Cried Mrs. Leticia. Officer Lopez came from the back door holding Miguelito's hand. Miguelito jumps. Mama! Screamed Miguelito. Mijo! Cheered Mrs. Leticia. After the happy reunion, Mrs. Leticia later filled out some paperwork and left the office with her son. Miguelito's prayers have been answered, and he and his mom started their new life together in California.
Thank you so much, Cynthia, for sharing that powerful personal story of immigration, the challenges, the environment, the conditions, and your message of hope within that as well. So thank you. Thank you so much for that wonderful prose. Our first place prose from high school, 12th grade, coming from Circulos. Give a round of applause for Alexis Benitez.
The marimba plays a unique sound that makes the moon dance. I have been followed by the moon all my life. The moon witnessed the day I was born, watched as I took my first steps, and traveled with me to a new land. The moon was my cuna, a cradle of light in the night of darkness, a reminder of the songs that we would sing each September in my hometown of Xelajú. Together, we would dance to the sound of the marimba, honoring the moon which sees us for who we are. The moon followed me the night we drove to the airport in Guatemala City and stayed up high in the sky as I arrived to LAX in 6th grade. I envisioned myself being a conquistadora, discovering new cultures and lands like Pedro de Alvarado in the streets of Guatemala, hiking the ruinas of Tikal. In the United States, there is no chapin bread or pilas, but there are plenty of washing machines and rows of homes where people from all different cultures come to dream and discover. The moon in California looked different. It was no longer shining or dancing. It was hidden behind thick layers of smoke and blistering sunsets. The moon was not the only thing that has changed. I went from being the top of my class in Quetzaltenango to memorizing sight words in English language learner class. I spent my entire day watching teachers and peers say words that I didn't understand, and I felt hopeless. My teacher told me to work twice as hard, so I did. I stayed up late at night working on homework assignments, looking up every word in the dictionary as if there was decoding a secret text. Piecing together the meaning of words, stringing sentences together as a paragraph, a novel. When I was finally able to write a sentence, I cried tears of joy, knowing that eventually I was going to be okay. When I finally conversed with teachers, wrote essays, and even took honor classes. However, the moon never left my side. When I speak, I have a very heavy accent that tells the world that I am from a different land. Sometimes this accent gets in the way where I am asked to repeat myself for a second time, or in a speech tournament when judges ask smiley questions whether I belong. But I have learned that my accent is not a deficient. My accent is my strongest tool, a gift of resilience, a window to the story. Today, my grammar is not perfect. My accent attracts attention, but because of it, I'm able to communicate the word of the messages and the voices of the voiceless. Instead, I use it to win awards, to present to a student ambassador each month in school boards as I volunteer to navigate the system of English and Spanish for political campaigns of Jonathan Hernandez Award 5 in my local city of Santa Ana. My accent challenging me to work twice as hard as my teacher once advised me to. Before a speech tournament, before I practice, I program recite fine tongue twisters at least 5 times. Before I speak at board meetings, my teacher and I practice my 3-minute speech for half an hour in the hallway, making sure that my pronunciation is perfect. Whether if it's for volunteer or communicating, I always constantly learning new vocabulary words and learning my English skills. My accent is my cuna, the one that has refused to let go of her child, a reminder of my beloved culture, my heritage, and my identity. The moon is always there, and it follows me wherever I go.
That was fantastic, Alexis.
Thank you.
There you go.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, wonderful. Round of applause for Alexis one more time, man. That was actually it's our last piece that we're going to be presenting today. But what I wanted to say is it encapsulates so much about the challenges that our students have chosen to write about, either personally or the stories of others, the fight that's within them, and the lives and environments and community around them, and what they see in terms of the perspective and the vision and how to get, not only see hope, but get to that place. I love what Alexis laid out in terms of the fight and how she fought to get to a place of comfort, appreciation, and understanding how we are all valuable to ourselves, like, said before in terms of the you. I'm going to share something really quickly. I want to acknowledge those who were winners in LitCon who weren't unable to make it here today, but I definitely want to shout them out. If that's okay. In intermediate poetry, our first place winner from Sierra was Brittany Casanova. So I want to make sure we shout out Brittany right there. Also, high school prose in second place from Santa Ana Valley, Jose Miguel Serrano was that place. And our high school poetry first place from Circulos was Adiel Ramirez with a wonderful piece of poetry. And we had one media that was unable to make it here today. Our high school media first place from Godinez, was from Mariela Rodriguez. So for those who weren't able to make it, everybody, round of applause for them. Mr. Grab, is there anything you wanted to share?
Well, I just want to congratulate all the students again and let them know that I'm so impressed with your work, and it's art, and that's why we call it the Literary Arts Festival. Just continue writing. I was talking to some authors last night at one of the Boca events, and just keep writing, because your stories matter. Everyone's stories matter. But the more you write about your stories, the more people are going to know who you are. And I encouraged actually teachers this year to have everyone have their students tell their story. It's a narrative exercise. It's part of our standards, actually, to have all kids write narratives every year in every grade level. And so I want your teachers to hear your story on a yearly basis, so they know how to address your needs, know what you've gone through. And actually, we need to tell each other our stories. We need to tell our friends our stories, because that's how we build relationships. And so I was truly touched, and I want you to know that I was truly touched, and I was changed by most of these presentations, because they do tell me of your experience.
Of your experience and all the wonderful things that can be gained from hearing your story.
And keep moving, guys. Keep moving forward. And congratulations. I'm so proud.
Thank you, Mr. Crab. We are right on schedule with time. So let me say this. In our normal environment, whatever we want to say with that, the physical environment, typically all you amazing people right here would be inside this incredible venue, this theater, and we'd be doing this all live. I mean, we'd have an opportunity for either a guest judge or a guest poet to share. I didn't know how much time we had, so I went ahead and I pulled up a poem just in case, but we're ahead of time. Did you guys want me to close out with a piece?
Yes.
All right, there we go. I'm trying to share. Listen, I only saw 2 people with a thumbs up. Everyone else is like, I'll ask one more time. Do you guys want me to close this out with a piece? All right, there you go. Listen, I just want to join in. Let me sip some water. I'm going to down this screen. This is also a piece that someone asked me to write a few months ago. So we'll see how this goes. This is in honor of you all as well. Let me exit that screen. It's called The First Drum. Mr. Crab, can you hear me still?
Yes, I can.
All right, perfect. The first drum, Black Love Is. The first drum, struck in shame and sin, or so they say, and so we sneak up on it like thieves in the night. The fight of flightless cygnets baptized out by the bullet and the lash. We are taught we ought know better, if nothing else, in some still fear the holy water, and some can't swim to save their lives. Come celebrate with me an amalgamation of legacy, an appreciation of tribal currency, salvation's riptide beneath the skin. Lift imperfect starshine to the heavens, that a red clay sound found damned at our feet might fall afresh upon the earth. A love levee breach barreling down Wall Street, drowning out a cacophony of colonial brass. In faith we hold hands and hold class in percussive rhythm, blood melodies made in sun-filled darker times to guide our way. And we shall not lose sight or sound of ourselves in 2/4, 4/4, or 808s, or otherwise known as soul. It's a spiritual thing for non-believers. It's a rapture for those willing to suspend belief and call it home. In the doorway we stand, a happily, nappily harmony of hues, unashamed of tenor and tone. We neither model or metronome. It's hard to measure across time what it means to be, what it truly means to be unafraid. Come celebrate with me a reclamation of intimacy, a people born romantically inclined to overcome death on the daily. And beyond all moonlight, we learn to love ourselves as ourselves, our gaze, our own. We are known for this freedom. Children of the chosen, behold, the only thing greater than yourself within yourself. Show and tell the skin, the rope, the shell. Refresh unabashedly at the well. As we gather once again, convocation, invocation begins in the dark roar of the first drum. Thank you. That's it, everybody. Hey, it's been an amazing session. This is how we close out LitCon every year, 2021. We've gone through the entire season, and here are our champions. Here stand before you, those who we celebrate. So we thank all, one more time, a round of applause for everyone that's here today. Keep that round of applause for everyone in the audience who showed up to support you. I'm not sure if we have time or the technology to do Q&A with anyone out there. So yeah, thank you all for showing up and supporting us. And from here, we close out, correct? Was it correct?
That's it. Yeah. And I want to just say one more thing. And all of you who presented today, I sent you an invitation to submit your works so that we can print them and have an anthology. And so I'm really looking forward to having your works in print. And so that's also something to look forward to. So yeah, congratulations and good job.
Thank you all. Thank you all. Thank you all.